Hi, it's Ollie. If you want a front row seat every time, hit that subscribe button. You know what to do. Today we're making a birthday card. It's a bit of a cutie. My daughter's turning 25 and I thought I'd do something a little bit whimsical. It's a stamp set from My Favourite Things called Birth Yay, and I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with it. It comes with dies as well, because you know me, I love my matching dies. I'm going to be using stencils as well this time, so we're sort of mashing it up a little bit, doing a couple of different techniques. The stencils are from Darkroom Door, and I'm using 3 different ones. I'm using arty hearts, arty circles, and also arty squares. And I'm using Distress Oxide inks, and the colours I'm using are Twisted Citron, Salvaged Patina, and I'll also be using Spiced Marmalade. And the cardstock I'm using is Bristol cardstock, and I'm using this cardstock on a recommendation that it actually is easier to blend on, and I must say it is really ultra smooth. I love it. It is a bit more expensive and you can only get it on Amazon that I've found, but it is super smooth. I'm just erasing some pencil marks because I thought I'd be prepared and write down all the measurements for you, but you can't even see them on the screen, so it was a bit of a waste of time. So the measurements I have, the white card panel is 5 1/4 inches by 4 inches. And it doesn't really matter what size you stamp on because we're going to be die cutting it out anyway. And I'm using alcohol friendly ink because I'm going to be colouring in with my Copic markers. But you can use whatever medium you have on hand to colour it in with. You can use markers, alcohol markers, textures, pencils, watercolours, whatever you fancy. It doesn't really matter. Again, I'm bringing out my trusty hex charts for my Copics, and I'm going to very much speed up the process of my colouring in because it takes roughly half an hour to colour in an image this size for me. I am a slow colourist. And I did try something a little bit different this time. After I do all the blending on the hippo, I do a little bit of dot work because hippos have a that's not a hippo. What am I talking about? It's a rhinoceros. I've been calling it a hippo. It's actually a rhino. They have a mottled skin. It's quite bumpy. So I thought by doing dot work on it, it would kind of give that same sort of impression. And I'm hoping that doing the dot work would kind of give that impression. So that's what I've done just here. And I think it actually turned out okay. And as it dries, it kind of tones it down a little bit. And in the description below, I have listed all the colours that I have used. And I'm sorry about the scratch marks on my arm. One of our cats misjudged a jump and she thought I would rescue her with my arm. It didn't quite work out that way. The cardstock I've used to actually do the Copic colouring on is the Neenah Solar Crest, and I've used the 80-pound weight. I didn't use the really heavy one because I am backing it onto other cardstock, so I wasn't concerned with the bleeding through that you do tend to get. Now these cards are going to be a top folding card rather than a side folding card, because the image is tall rather than wide. So the measurements are going to be a little bit different than usual. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the little tool that I was using to do my ink blending on the stencils before was a magnetic platform. You don't have to use that. I just find it holds my stencil in place very well. That was a Make Art Station that from Ranger. It just holds the little magnets hold the stencil in place. You can just use your hands to hold the stencil in place. You can also use low-tack tape to hold the stencil in place. I'm very clumsy when it comes to stenciling, so I like the magnets, but you can use tape. You don't have to use the fancy tools. I'm also clumsy with low-tack tape. I tend to tape it too hard and it pulls off some of the card as well. So I find the magnets work very well for me. But you can cut your cardstock a little bit bigger and then trim it down to the correct size later if you are worried about it pulling off some of the cardstock. And I've just used one Ohuhu marker that you saw there, which was the yellow, as I didn't have a true yellow in the Copics. So you don't even have to use all Copics. You can mix and match your markers, your mediums. And there you go, that's the basic colouring done. Not perfect, but it's good enough for me. And that's the magnetic stamping, the magnetic platform I was talking about before. So this is the salvaged patina with the arty circles darkroom door stencil. And I'm just using a very basic, cheap blending foam tool. There's all sorts of fancy foam blending brushes and all sorts of things out on the market. I've tried the brushes. I do have a set of brushes. I do use them for certain applications. I keep coming back to the foam, the domed foam. I just find they're brilliant. And this one is the Arty Squares. And I just keep all the foam domes in these little cylindrical craft containers. I just get them from AliExpress or from Amazon or from even the little $2 shops. They're very convenient. So these are the matching dies that I've got with it, and this is how the dies actually come. I kept them attached like this just to show you, just sort of bend them backwards and forwards, and then cut them apart with some pliers, or the little they're not called pliers, side cutters, very carefully. And then once you've cut them apart, you can store them on little magnetic sheets. And I keep them with the stamps, and I store them on a magnetic sheet behind the stamps. That way they're always together. And then you just put it on top of your stamped image. Secure it with a bit of low-tack tape. Do not use sticky tape, because you'll regret it. Always use low-tack tape. And then you just run it through your die cutting machine. I do have the larger die cutting machine, and I've also got this really, really cute little one from Heffy Doodle, which is an English company. Sizzix do a small one as well. This one though doesn't require much arm effort, which is great. It's very, very easy to use, doesn't require much effort at all, but it only does the smaller, I think it's 3-inch opening, and it's great for just small little projects like this. It's always on my desk. And you always use one base plate, and that is the one you always use with the cut surface down, so that the top plate is always nice and clean. So the clean one is always on your nice surface of your card stock, so it doesn't ruin your pretty side. And now I'm just choosing the sentiments to go with it. It actually has some really nice sentiments in this set. You don't have to use the sentiments with the set, of course. You can use whatever sentiments you have, or you can write your own sentiments. You don't have to be stuck with what's in the set. And it's not just a juvenile set. Like I said, my daughter's turning 25, and I thought this would really tickle her fancy. And I don't think it's necessarily just a birthday set either. You can even use it as a retirement, any sort of celebration really, because it can be from a group of people, as any sort of celebration. And this is just a generic banner set that I got. I think I got it off Amazon a long time ago, so I can't actually give you the name of it, but it's just a banner set of dies that I picked up. So I've just die cut that and then pop the sentiment in there. And this is just pretty easy stuff. I'm just trimming down the sentiment, and then I'm going to back it onto the colour card that I'm using for the card itself. Now the coloured card that I'm backing the stenciled piece onto, that is cut to 5.5 inches by 4.25 inches. So I've gone up 1/4 of an inch in size. So it's got a nice border all around, as you can see there. And then the one that I'm not backing onto a piece of coloured card, I'm just going around it with the same colour ink that I've used for the stencil background, just to tie it all in together. And there's the orange one, and backing that onto an orange piece of card. And just using tape runner this time to stick it all together. And I'm trialling a tape runner from, I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, Kokuyo, it's Kokuyo, Kokuyo dot liner from Japan. I've heard lots of good things about it, so I thought I'd give it a try, and it's actually very, very good. I'm very impressed, I must say. And you can get refills for it, so you're not throwing out a whole lot of plastic each time it runs out, which is fantastic. So I thought I'd stick the white card directly down onto the coloured cardstock, and then for a couple of the cards I thought I would put down some foam, just 2mm foam adhesive on the stamped image. I did that, I think, on 2 of the cards, and then one of the cards I just stuck the stamped image flat down. And let me know in the comments if, because I have sped these videos up a little bit so they don't take so long, if you prefer them sped up a little bit or if you want me to slow them down. Now for the card bases, because these are top opening cards rather than side opening cards, they are 11 inches by 4.25 inches, and then they are scored at 5.5 inches along the 11-inch side. And I've used 300 GSM or 110 pound cardstock for this, and I've just used cardstock from Officeworks. Now you can use 250 GSM cardstock for this as well. And I've used glue. Now if you want to line them up, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can either put it to the corner of either your scoreboard or your MISTI, or you can sort of line them up as best you can like this, and then sort of like I just did there, sort of tap them on their sides, whichever is more comfortable. And now we come to the best bit, the decorating stage, where you sort of embellish if you want to. So I've just popped a couple of little sequin hearts like the little bird is singing happy birthday. Little pearl hearts. That one's my daughter's card because her favourite colour is green. And of course glossy accents on the cherry on the cupcake. And a little bit of Nouveau shimmer sparkle on the balloon. And a nice little sparkle on the party hats, a little diamante. And that's how they stand, nice and strong. That's why you need a nice strong card base, a 300 GSM or a minimum of 250 GSM. Now the orange one, I've actually used these jewels mix. It's like a little crystal, and I've used the art glitter glue, which dries clear. These are really, really pretty little crystals, and I've just used the jewels picker, which has got like a sticky silicone end, which is really handy because tweezers just don't pick these up. It's really, really tricky, and my fingers don't pick them up either. So this is a really handy little tool. Or you could use a toothpick with a bit of blue tack on the end as well, and they just pick up the light. So there you go, all 3 cards done. So you know what to do. Spread the word, click like, click subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.